welcome to Let's Talk Nation. I'm your man, Rod Love, and sitting directly to the left of me is none other than the General Attorney Greg Jackson.
Once again, it's on. Once again, it's on. But hey, man, you know how we get the thing started. And how do you feel
Greg, the weekend was excellent, man. But and I know we're gonna pop into this thing, but something took place, man, last night, Greg. It was incredible, but it didn't have all the, I guess, the glamour and glitz to me that we've seen this take place in years gone past. And I'm talking about none other than what, Greg?
I'm talking about the NBA Finals.
Yes, sir.
So the NBA Finals haven't been the NBA Finals since the 2000s. And dare I say, since you had COVID-19 and when they were playing in the bubble, it has not been the same since before they went in and played in the bubble.
I forgot all about the bubble, man.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have the flash to flare. I mean, like when Jordan was playing, when Kobe was out there, when LeBron was chasing his first championship, when Kevin Garnett and those guys were playing, with Shaq was still in the game. You just don't have that excitement, man.
Greg, is it that we were so familiar with these marquee players that had just really earned their names? But Greg, the MVP, wait, hold up, this person, and I don't even remember the guy's name, and I'm sorry, and I apologize. I don't remember his name, but he got the NBA MVP player, and then last night he got MVP for the game. And I apologize, Greg, but I mean, that's why I say it didn't have, and you just called it didn't have all the glitz. And some people might say good.
I mean, but listen though, think about the cities that were playing in the game. And while people think about the cities that were playing in the game, we want to let them know that they're tuned in to two of the most influential voices in Central Florida on Monday Night Podcast. Brother Love and Greg Jackson, the dynamic duo guaranteed to raise your IQ 10 to 15 points. And Brother Love, on some nights, we might get them up to 25 or 30. If you want to be a part of the night show, all you have to do is hit 407-921-6195. Again, that's 407-921-6195. Or Brother Love, they can go to their Facebook page. They can do the little Twitter finger thing. They can come in and they can join us. All of that stuff like that. So if you want to be a part of the night show, all you got to do is join Brother Love and I. So Brother Love, let's
get it on.
But here's the thing too now, Brother Love. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, now that we're digesting it, now that we got the formalities out of the way, right? Oklahoma City, Indiana. It ain't no Miami. It ain't no Boston. It ain't no LA. It ain't no Golden State in California. These are small market places where they don't have like people that get on the bandwagon for certain players, but you got to have people that are on board for a team across a wide spectrum of locations.
Think about this, and Greg, I know you know this. Who is the most famous player to come out of OKC?
Out of OKC?
Yeah.
Like now?
No. They're not there now.
Listen, no, because OKC is not really OKC to me.
No?
Because remember, OKC is the former Seattle Supersonics. And if we're talking about the Seattle Supersonics, then you got to be talking about Sean Kemp. You got to be talking about Gary Payton.
You just took me for a loop.
You see what I'm saying?
You're right.
Yeah.
But you know who I was going to tell you, the most famous player that came out of, I was going to tell you to pick from each team. Indiana's going to be an easy one for you, I know. But the person who came out of OKC, who's the most famous person, and they got out of OKC because they went on, they wanted to win a championship, and they did. Kevin Durant.
Durant, that's right.
You know?
That is true.
And Greg, think about how ironic this is. Yeah. He left and was one of the best players that franchise has ever seen.
Yeah.
And now they got one.
They got one.
On the other side. Now who
I remember this. Now LeBron James did the same thing to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
You're right.
And when he said, I'm taking my talents down to South Beach, he was, he's one of the listen, I'm still a Jordan and the Kobe guy.
Yeah.
I'm still a Jordan and the Kobe guy. That is not going to change. I don't care how many points LeBron James scores. Okay. But LeBron James, I will not take away from him that he is one of the greatest players in NBA basketball.
And he went back to his hometown, so to speak, and got them
with a crew. With a crew. Now. Come on.
A paid book.
Yeah, listen, he came with a crew. He came with a crew.
But you know what, Greg? That is so interesting when you say that, because when the Miami Heat won the championship, when the LA Lakers won the championship, it was one of them deals where you went out and bought a championship.
Listen, man, you had Shaq, you had Kobe, you had Dennis Rodman on
Yeah.
that. Well, you had Robert Ory, but Robert Ory, who bounced around and did
Yeah.
one at San Antonio also
You
with the
right,
Spurs. I think Robert Ory has 6 championship rings. He has either the same as or one more than Jordan.
man. I didn't even realize that. But then,
Yeah.
Greg, when you say that, man, you know when we had a conversations about going to buy an NBA championship,
Mm-hmm.
the first team that comes to mind that did not go and buy, what was it, 5 NBA championships? Was it 5? Jordan had 5, right?
6. Yeah,
6.
6. Yeah.
Oh, see, hey, Greg,
Yeah.
Chicago Bulls didn't go and buy a championship team.
Listen, man, they had the greatest player
They had
of
the
all time, who basically said, "I'm gonna put y'all on my back, and we gonna win this."
And we knew when you had that, what, it was seconds left on the clock. Everybody know who was going to get
Yeah,
it.
and he knew you knew that he was gonna get it.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
he tell everybody else, clear out.
Move out the way. And there's only one other player that did it that way, which is Kobe Bryant.
Yeah. But he,
Only one other player did it.
emulated Michael Jordan.
Yeah, to the T.
Yeah.
To the T. All right, so I got y'all. All right, so you want to say who is the most famous Indiana Pacer?
Yeah.
All right, who? I know who I got in my mind. Who's ever won the championship?
Well, and Reggie Miller is the person.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, never won a
So,
championship.
but great. Think about how far removed Kevin Durant is from OKC and Reggie Miller from Indiana. And look at what. Oh, and then the other magnificent thing that took place, man. They actually went to a game 7.
Yeah, they took it all the way. They took it all the way. Yeah. And OKC won it in their home in their home stadium.
Yeah.
So I mean, listen, you know, I'm ashamed to say I didn't watch the game. I wasn't. You know, listen, it was OKC and the Pacers.
I watched 3/4 of the championship game, and I didn't. And I kind of glanced at some of the other games that took place in between, but I never watched the full.
Yeah. Now I will say, last week I was locked up in a hotel room over in Volusia County for a week, and there was nothing else to do except prepare for trial. For the next day of trial, and I did watch a couple of the games when I was over there.
Man,
But I also watched, but we forgot to talk about this. I also watched a little bit of the Stanley Cup championship, and you know who won the Stanley Cup this year?
right down the street from us, right? Right down the street.
Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers won the Stanley Cup. Now,
Greg, is that the first time they?
Nah, second time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
this is the second year in a row. So they have won 3 times. The Tampa Bay Lightning has won. So Florida, get this now. Florida, the great state of Florida, has, count it with me, an MLB
Mhm.
championship, an NFL championship, an NBA championship, and a hockey championship. The state of Florida.
But that should attract a lot of professional athletes to the state of Florida just for that. Hey, and you're living in a tropical paradise.
Listen, man, you can't beat the great state of Florida. I don't care what they say. Hey, from Miami to the tip top, Tallahassee, cross to Jacksonville. You go this way, and you go the other way to Panama City. You put me anywhere in Florida, man. I'm good to go.
And Greg, I'll just say this, and we can skip if you want to go ahead and skip along.
Yeah.
But I can't remember the name of the center who played for OKC.
Mm-hmm.
Really like sticks and stones. Skin and bones rather. But Greg, this cat played last night, man, as if he was like a Shaquille O'Neal.
I'm going to take your word for it.
I
Because I didn't see it.
Blocking shots, man,
I didn't see it.
and wearing folk out, man. So it was an incredible night last night, though, man.
So yeah, listen. So congratulations to OKC. Don't let the fact that I wasn't watching the game take away from that the fantastic accomplishment, the first ever NBA championship. It would have been, quietly. I will say this quietly. I was pulling for the Pacers to win. The Pacers is a longer standing organization. Barring the fact that OKC, as I said, is really to me Seattle SuperSonics. But the Pacers is a well-respected, well-regarded organization that's been around for years, and I would have loved to have seen the Pacers get their first championship. But maybe next year, man.
Maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
Well, Greg, let me ask you something, man. I'm gonna push us on. Greg, you mentioned about being locked up in a hotel room last week.
Man. Yeah.
Can you give us any updates on the trial?
So listen, I was in trial last week for a week. And we were successful. So
Congratulations,
we
man.
won. We won. It was not the amount that my client wanted, but in this particular case, the win was spectacular. Now, this is what I said. And this is one of the reasons why it kind of just set with me. My client was an older lady. She was 79 when the accident happened. She was 84 by the time we got to trial. So, folks out there, a lot of times when you get a case, you're not going to trial that year. It's very seldom.
Right, 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very seldom that people get to trial within 2 years. But the court system is trying to change that. But the thing that kind of set with me and kind of rubbed me the wrong way is how the jury came about its decision. Now, I respect juries. I'm not saying anything negative about jurors because they perform a magnificent civil function in our country. There's no other time, brother. Think about this, and this is what I tell jurors. There's no other time that the government calls for you to leave your home to serve a civic duty except for the draft or selective service, is what they call it now, or jury selection. No other time will the government call you out to serve and to do a civic duty, and that's one of the times. And so it's a very important part of the process. But with this particular lady, she was older, and yes, she had some issues in the past. But in this particular case, in this particular accident, and there was certain evidence that we couldn't put in front of the jury because of the law, but I can talk about it here. The guy that hit her truck was apparently going to see a young lady when he was supposed to be working.
Okay.
And he hit my client's car. He rear-ended her. He blew through his light, hit her car. He sideswiped her. He forced the car to go into oncoming traffic and hit a guardrail. And he fled the scene. Now, because they admitted liability or said, hey, it was our fault, we couldn't tell the jury that this guy fled the scene and was arrested and has a felony conviction because of what he did to this lady. Now, her injuries included some significant contusions and different things like that to her legs, and she developed infections because she's an older lady with diabetes. And so she continued to have infection after infection, and those infections were from the wounds that she got from this accident. But the jury felt like, well, because she already had diabetes and she had infections in the past, the infections that she has now aren't really related to the accident. And that was the absolute wrong answer because her doctors were saying that the infections were related to the accident. So I felt bad because now listen, again, we got a good result. Don't get me wrong. But we could have gotten a better result. But this jury just didn't understand that just because a person is older and just because a person has certain conditions, if she had not been in this accident, she would not have had these other infections that caused her to be hospitalized 2 times.
So Greg, if I'm hearing this correctly, the premise is as a result of the accident, it exacerbated the infection.
Right.
Okay. I can understand that.
Right. But this jury's like, well, she was an older lady, she was having infections anyway, so we can do it. Now, the other thing too, the attorney that I went up against, I'm not going to call his name. He and I had to pump his brakes and get him straight a couple times. Because
we know that's Greg. That's a general.
Yeah, and I had to remind him that I'm from Perry, Taylor County, but I got a whole lot of Tallahassee in me, and it's just certain ways we're not going to deal with each other up in this courtroom. And so he will remember me the next time because we're going to be seeing each other again in September, and I owe him another one. So, but so I owe him another one. But it was a very
good result.
Trial. Yeah,
good results.
Yeah.
And Greg, what cautionary tale would you give seniors, or would you tell? Well, I guess you really already said to people.
Listen, the only thing I can tell people is, don't be surprised by what juries do. This lady was thinking that this jury was going to see her and feel sorry for her, which sympathy has no place in the courtroom. I've said it as a defense attorney, as a plaintiff's attorney. And it was a very sad case, but the jury did not allow sympathy to come in. And what I tell people is, look at what happened with the George Zimmerman case. Look at what happened with the Casey Anthony case. And the one thing that I can tell you about jurors in the Central Florida area is they will follow the law.
Yeah.
And if they can't interject sympathy into their decisions, they're not going to interject sympathy, because if they would have interjected sympathy, this would have been a far different result.
Okay, I get it.
But they can't, and I understand that.
Well, Greg, let me ask you this before we skip on. Just one, because I'm curious. Greg, what allowed or how did this case go on for so long? Because it reminds me of something I'm gonna bring up before we skip along.
Yeah. So part of the reason I think that it went as long as it did because they admitted liability the day that we went into trial. They could have admitted liability 3 years ago.
Oh, okay,
to tell you the
okay.
truth. Now, and I can say this because I'm not telling you who the firm is, I'm not telling you who the attorney is, but this is what I will say. And if it's any adjusters out there that's listening, and if it's any defense attorneys out there listening, I apologize if this is not you. But a lot of times, well, aside from the fact that they had an argument, and I'm going to say that first and foremost, they felt that they had an argument on the case. However, a lot of another part of it is defense attorneys get paid by the amount of hours that they bill.
Say no, say less.
Yeah. Now, when I was a defense attorney, I did see a kind of a change where certain insurance companies were starting to pay on a phase system where you can only do a certain amount of work in a certain phase and a certain amount of work in a certain phase, and that determines how much you are paid. But there's still, insurance companies that pay these attorneys based on the work that they do now, and if they can, take depositions that really don't matter, if they can drag something out and file motions that really don't matter, and admit something at the very last day or whatever the case may be, they'll do that and they do very well. So,
well, Greg, the reason why I wanted to kind of put a little break on that when you talked about the duration that this case went on, something very interesting. I don't know if you had a chance to see it. It took place in the last 2 weeks. Broward County Sheriff Gregory.
okay.
He did a press conference 2 weeks ago, and I got to tell you, it impressed the heck out of me.
Yeah.
Did you heard about it?
I did not.
He did a press conference. He had 2 trial attorneys standing in the background, and then they subsequently stepped up to the mic and spoke. But he gave this press conference some body, if you would. He put meat on the bone, and he talked about how his agency, and I think Broward County Sheriff's Office is probably the second or the third largest law enforcement agency in the state of Florida.
Makes sense, yeah.
But he talked about how he holds his deputies and correction officers to a high standard.
Okay.
He went on to talk about how he submitted cases to the state attorney's office when he sees and what is it, AI, IA, Internal Affairs.
Okay, yeah.
After they come back after doing their investigations and they find that officers are in the wrong.
Okay.
He talked about how he submitted cases, and Greg, I'm talking about somewhere underneath 70 cases over the last 4 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And all of those cases have been the state attorney's office has chosen not to press forward with these cases. So he runs this video of his jail and how 3 female officers went into this cell. You see the inmate in there that's not complying whatsoever. And the inmate starts tussling with the correction officer and bites one of them. So what you see is the correction officer punching to get that mouth off of them, right?
Yeah.
Well, what took place 2 weeks ago, 3 of those correction officers were arrested.
Okay.
For something that took place in 2022.
Okay.
After there's been investigations and the whole nine. And so my whole point was just that it took 3 years for the prosecutor to come forth to press charges. But even on top of that, Gregory talked about the job that these men and women were doing in the jail, and that they put the video out there for the public to see what was taking place. And he asked the public, do y'all see any malfeasance in these deputies doing their job when you see the actions of that inmate as well? And so he put it all out there for you to make your own decision. And my only point, Greg, is it took 3 years for the state attorney to come full circle to file cases against those deputies that, pretty much he said all of them had about 20 some odd years of service. But the last thing he left them with is that he was going to continue to defend those deputies. And he said, you, the general public, you view this and you tell me, where do you see any malfeasance at? So it just really got me, man, that it took 3 years.
That's interesting. And I don't see how that case how that case goes anyway, other than the officers being exonerated. I mean, unless
There's something, yeah.
that else isn't there. I mean, I don't understand that. I don't understand it. Now, but let me take a step back too now, and let me apologize, because one of the other reasons that cases have taken a little bit of time now is because of COVID-19.
Okay.
And from late 2020 until sometime in early 2022 or late 2021, no case was being tried in the state of Florida. So that added about a year and a half.
Oh, okay.
Added about a year.
But what I put a
Yeah.
little suspense in there when I told you that there were 2 trial attorneys in
Yeah.
attendance at the press conference.
Yeah.
Guess who's defending those correction officers?
That's defending them?
That's defending them. And they got up to the mic because these are the same trial attorneys who have sued the sheriff's office for officers not performing their duties. So I don't, and I know you say trial attorney defend. I don't know.
You know, who is it?
I'll send you the video.
Okay.
I'll send you the video. But man, I tell you, I was impressed by the leadership of this guy stepping up to say, when my people do wrong, I'm gonna do the same thing that I would do with your citizens.
Interesting. Yeah,
So-
I'm gonna have to take a look at that and see what that's all about. And,
Well, I'll shoot that to you. I'll shoot it to you.
Yeah.
Hey, Greg, and I guess, man, this might be a good segue, man.
Yeah, we're talking all things law right now.
All things law.
Basketball and law.
Hey, the Diddy trial, man, bring us up to speed,
Listen,
Brother
man, the
Jackson.
Diddy trial right now, it is in week number 6, Brother Love. Week number 6. Today was the start of week number 6. And the prosecution, to my understanding, is preparing to rest on tomorrow, basically meaning that their case is going to be over. The defense has signaled that they're only going to need about 2 days to put on their case, which means that this case will probably be with the jury either Wednesday or Thursday. So this case has taken 6 weeks, and it's 6 weeks, and it's almost over. But we have learned some very, very interesting things about Sean P. Diddy Combs over the past 6 weeks, Brother Love, that I don't think anyone was prepared to learn about him.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But Greg, let me ask you this: have you? Because I've really stopped really paying a whole lot of attention to it.
Yeah.
Have you seen anything that has led down the path yet to? Was it sex trafficking or human trafficking?
So one of the charges, in conjunction with racketeering, because he has a RICO charge that's a part of everything he's doing, but there are like 3 or 4 separate charges that he has been brought against him. And one of the charges is traveling for the purposes of prostitution. And there has been some fairly compelling evidence where, although he was with his girlfriend, and while I think the freak-offs weren't as, it kind of fizzled in terms of what it was, because I was saying like this big party with all these crazy people running around and stuff, but it was like him and like whoever he was dating at the time, and he would bring in like male prostitutes, and he would fly them in, which is the part about the transporting prostitutes for sex acts or whatever the case may be. The fact that he would have people go out and buy him drugs. One of his former assistants came in, the assistant that was arrested last year, I think it was, with drugs on him just before P. Diddy was arrested, or whatever the case may be. And he basically said that his job was to buy drugs for Sean Combs. He was talking about things like cocaine, peak cocaine, ecstasy, and things of that nature. And so you have that aspect of it with the drug transactions and things of that nature. You also have it where extortion is a part of it, where he extorted one of his ex-girlfriend's parents and said, if you don't pay me X amount of dollars, I'm going to release a sex tape. They sent him the money, but he sent it back. But that does not exonerate him for what he initially did. You have people that said, a young lady said that he hung her over a balcony. So, I mean, you have a lot of things, bodyguards who are being accused of, taking action at his direction to do certain things. And so, from the standpoint of the RICO charge, I don't know if they get there for the RICO charge. But the other charges, the criminal enterprise with, using his business for illegal activity, I think that they may have some things there, and to commit crimes. I think they may have something there, and the transporting of sex workers, the prostitutes. If you go strictly by the letter of the law, I think they have them on that too. So.
Greg, this is a federal case against him, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask this, because I don't know, and I just make sure you're the expert here. So after this federal trial takes place, can they turn around and prosecute him on state?
So they don't have any state crimes against him.
Okay.
But I mean, there can be concurrent state charges against someone.
Okay.
It's just a matter of if the federal crimes, if they trump those charges. Sometimes they do, but then there's certain state crimes that do not or are not dissipated by a federal crime or federal charge. But I don't know of any state charges that have been levied or that he's been accused of at this juncture. So,
Greg, this is all that's been
well,
talked about.
let me take a step back because there are some lawsuits against him in state court. So but those are civil actions
Okay.
Against him. So,
But, Greg, this is something, man, that we have been getting as much daily updates on a regular basis for the past 6 weeks on just this trial.
yeah, and listen, it's just been interesting to watch because what we're doing is we're getting a first row view of what celebrities do in their
Mm-hmm.
behind closed doors, and just to hear some of the stuff, see some of the videos that's played, is rather disturbing. It's also rather disturbing, a guy as talented as Sean Combs, the things that he struggles with, the demons that he has,
Mm-hmm.
that's coming to light. I mean, him, R. Kelly, I mean, you name them, it's a lot of them out there that have these things that's going on that cause them to commit these types of crimes.
Greg, break this down because here's what I've had a few people say to me, and I tell them, I say, well, y'all need to be talking to the general because he can easily put this to rest. Greg, a lot of people are under the impression that those NDAs matter when you go.
No. NDAs matter unless it is unless there is a court proceeding or a court order requiring you to divulge what's in the NDA, and we've seen that in full-fledged in this trial. Matter of fact, we saw it in full-fledged in the Stormy Daniels trial with President Trump.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen them in other trials, in case I can't think of right now. But yeah, NDAs only work if you are not a part of a criminal proceeding.
So Greg, if you violate an NDA
Mhm.
and it's not engaged in some type of criminal court proceedings, basically the worst that can take place with you is you could actually be sued civilly, right?
Yeah, and I mean, depending on what you have, it could be a significant penalty in terms of the monetary ramifications for for violating the NDA.
Very interesting, very interesting. Greg, well, I tell you, man, so we're leaving the law and order section of this show, and now we're going to dive in, Greg, to a special election that's taking place tomorrow.
So listen, this is something else we've been talking about quite a bit. Also, I think starting back in February or early March, we started talking about this when a former state senator Geraldine Thompson passed away. Unfortunately, she passed away, and that left a seat that she was in at that time vacant. And at that time, we learned that there were going to be some individuals running for that seat, two of which are siblings, and then you had a local attorney to jump in, then you had a entrepreneur who's a Republican to jump in, and then you had a former congressman to jump into the race. And so we've talked about this almost ad nauseum from the standpoint of the individuals who are in this race, kind of what their positions are, and just kind of the drama behind some of what's taking place too in the seat. And so for those who are wondering, the Florida State Senate District 15 race has come to an end, or come to a close, so to speak, or at least it will on tomorrow, when the general election for the special election will be held. And so the individuals that are going to be voted on tomorrow, because the one Republican does not have a challenger, and I'm assuming if he doesn't drop out of the race, that he's going to take it all the way up through, when is it, September? No, is it September or August?
Greg, it's a highly Democratic district?
Yeah. So, I mean, you have a Republican in there, but if he doesn't drop out, there's going to be a general election. So this is technically a primary for the Senate seat and and basically the general election for the House seat. But the individuals that are running for the state Senate seat.
We have state Senate seat. We have, as you mentioned, LaVon Bracey. You got
LaVon Bracey Davis. Don't leave her husband.
LaVon Bracey Davis. You're right. Then we also have former Senator Randy Bracey.
Yeah.
We also have attorney Coretta Anthony Scott.
Yep.
and we have former Congressman Alan Grayson.
Alan
Did I
Grayson.
cover all?
You covered all on the Democratic side.
Okay, on the Democratic side.
And then Willie Montague is the lone Republican who, again, I hadn't heard what is it, hide no hair? Haven't seen hide no hair? I can't. Yeah,
But he will be facing off, as you mentioned, in the general election.
Assuming he doesn't drop out. That's the thing.
You're right. You're right.
I mean,
you're
I
right.
hadn't heard anything from this guy, so I don't know how serious of a candidate he is. If he hadn't even let him stepped out there to be seen. Has he been to any forums? Anything?
Not that I'm aware of, because I know
Yeah.
we had the honor of hosting the campaign forum for Tiger Banks of Central Florida.
Well, Willie Montague was supposed to be.
Yeah. So
didn't show up.
Yeah. But something, Greg, here's something, and I don't want to skip over this. You were talking earlier about all of the lead up to the sibling rivalry, if you want to call it that.
Right. Well, so the sibling issue kind of took away from the real issues in this race.
Yeah.
And what people should have been talking about and could have been talking about was kind of took a back seat to the drama of the sibling rivalry in this particular game. And listen, no knock on either one of them. It's just what people were focused on.
You're right. And to that point is this, Greg, and I don't know if you heard any more or witnessed any more, but throughout this entire campaign, while a lot of people were sitting back waiting for the drama to come, Greg, I never saw it.
It didn't come. Yeah,
I
it
never
did not
saw
come. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that they said is that they would not debate each other, which they did not do. I don't think I ever saw them in the same place at one time, so there was no one to really kind of poke them or kind of prod them to do anything. I do know that that his mom did come to, or their mom came to the Tiger Bay candidate forum, but she was there in the capacity of campaign manager for one of the House district candidates, if I understood correctly. And so, I mean, if there was no real, no real jabs taken, aside from, some stuff that was said on stage that had to be, respectfully asked to, let's leave that somewhere else. So.
Tomorrow will tell the tale, but I also want to know, General, what's your thoughts on the District 40 House race?
So, in addition to this state Senate District 15 race, as Brother Love has indicated, there's a House district race because Representative LaVon Bracy Davis had to resign that seat in order to run for the state Senate seat. So the two individuals that are running for that seat, you have a gentleman that has been on this show that has spoken to us, who's actually brought receipts.
I was just going to say the first person who went in his pocket and pulled out. Yeah.
And, that is Tavares McCurdy, former state representative who is running for that seat. And then you also have a very, what I perceive to be a very talented young man, Rashawn Young, who is the former chief aide for LaVon Bracy Davis, who is running for the seat. Now, my understanding of what I've seen is that, Mr. Young has done very well in terms of, garnering support and also, a lot of eyes on him with regards to how he presents and things of that nature. But then on the other side, Mr. McCurdy, folks are saying he has the experience. He's been there. He has a willingness to work across the aisles, which I know I heard both of them say that they would do that. The one downside, Brother Love, the major downside for Mr. Young, which is unfortunate because I don't think that this is anything that he's done. I don't think that it is his fault. But one of the downsides is that it has been said, that he is the successor of LaVon Bracy Davis.
I don't like that.
No one likes that. Not a lot of people like that. And so, people would like for him to run on his merits and not because someone has tapped him to say you are the successor of anyone. Because the last we checked, there are no monarchies in politics here in these United States. I mean, the Clintons couldn't do it, the Kennedys couldn't do it, the Bushes couldn't do it. I mean, there are no monarchies where a single person can say, this is the person that I decide will represent the people.
Let me say this, General. You, I, and Dr. Black, we've had the conversation about building a bench.
Yeah.
We've had conversation about we like to see more that younger generation step up, and not a matter of waiting to get in line. I'm not going to say that, but I had a really not intense. I had a private conversation with former Representative McCurdy.
Okay.
Not going to dispense that conversation, but the one thing, Brother Jackson, that really impressed me
What's that?
is when you can look another person in the eye and have a conversation about their growth and them acknowledging their growth, but also lessons learned.
Yeah.
And here's a guy, Greg, he was a House aide and he was also a Senate aide too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But to listen to McCurdy speak about his growth, and I know we all wish we had a crystal ball or we could blink ourselves back in time, because that old saying, if we had it to do it again,
Yeah.
we'd do it differently. I believe, Greg, and I'm gonna just tell you, I really believe that McCurdy has learned some tough lessons. But I also, man, have the faith and confidence that here's somebody who understands what it means to go and negotiate and compromise so that he can make his community better.
I will say this also, because Mr. McCurdy ran for the Orlando District 5 race,
Mhm.
and I thought that he ran an admirable campaign. And I think that the person that he ran against in that race did pull some rather salacious tactics on Mr. McCurdy, and brought in things that really should not have been brought into a campaign, in my personal opinion. Now, listen, I get it. I mean, I've run for public office, and Doc Polite knows me. When I am running a campaign, it is war. It is war. I'm not gonna lie, it is war, and I'm going to test you. I'm going to push you. I'm going, and different things like that. But there are a couple of things that are off limits. There's a couple of things that's off limits.
Family being one of them.
Yeah, when you run for office, there are a couple of things that's off limits, and some of the things that were said that were brought out. Number one, I think were unnecessary, but it also were things that could have potentially affected his livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
this is a young African American male who has a young African American daughter who's having to hear these things. And I think that you have to temper yourselves when you're running for public office to resist the urge to go for the jugular in every aspect of this game. There's not that reason to go after the jugular in every aspect of the game. Now, trust me, on issues of how do you serve the community, what's your record, and different things like that, absolutely fair game. Let's go after that. But things about personal struggles, issues with, like there was something that came out about LaVon Bracy Davis's husband. There were things that came out about Coretta Anthony Smith's husband. I think has no place
You're right.
in the campaign. There were certain things that were said about former Senator Randolph Bracy that I thought was totally inappropriate and should not have been said. Though that there's no place in my mind in politics
Right.
for those things.
But Greg, but politics, man, does it have any bounds anymore?
They say all is fair in war and politics.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and to some people, that's how they play the game. For me personally, though, if we're talking about leading a community and someone steps out and they're not a shady person, because there's some shady people out there, and we know who they are, and we have to point them out for who they are without attacking the family. We'll point them out for who they are. But in politics, there has to come a time when we discuss and debate on issues and not on the other stuff.
Do voters pay attention
Yeah.
to integrity? Do they pay attention to the flyers?
Oh, wait. Do they pay attention to integrity? Not all the time, no.
Okay.
And the sad part about it, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate on this, but I already know. The sad part about it is in the African American community, a lot of folks are not educated about the candidates.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they do is they take the word of other people about the character or about the qualifications of other people instead of doing the research themselves. That is the unfortunate thing in the Black community, is that we'll call somebody and say, hey, who is this and who should I vote for? As opposed to, hey, send me some information and send me some literature about this person. Do you have any literature that I can read about this person? It is one of the more tragic aspects of elections in Black communities that we are not more educated as voters.
And I would agree. I would agree with you, Greg. Before we jump off of this topic, let me ask you real quick, man. Tomorrow.
Yep. They're gonna be
Vote-
VFW, right?
vote-
VFW.
Yeah.
Okay.
Voter turnout. What's your?
Very low, extremely low.
Yeah.
Extremely low. This election, whoever wins the House seat is going to win with less votes than what it took to win the Orlando District 5 seat. And if you remember, it was what, like 1,800 votes?
You're right. You're right.
And dare I say that the state Senate seat, the only thing that's going to attract more people is the number of people that's in that race. Because you have 5 people, 4 people that are on the Democratic side of the race, and so they bring, their own people with them. And so that's the only reason why that's probably going to be more in like the 5,000 or 6,000 range.
You run for office, so you know this stuff better than me. And Greg, it comes down to a numbers game. It comes down to being laser-like strategic.
Yeah, who you bringing?
On who you bringing.
Yeah.
And so, Greg, we know that, we suspect that voter turnout is going to be low.
Yeah.
But here's what I'm thinking. And you can tell me what your thought on this is. But Greg, I am anticipating, because you and I both have seen this, along with Dr. Light, that I'm guessing whoever comes to the table with the majority of the absentee votes, because voter day, votes, the turnout, I'm anticipating, Greg, is going to be that low.
For Democrats,
that you got to win on absentee ballots.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be people that come out on election day. But here's the other thing too. This is how I gauge. If someone says, who do you think, is kind of leading the charge right now? Here's what I gauge. I gauge, how many times does a person touch a door or gets into your home? Back in the old days, and we have a good friend, Brian Nelson, who is very well heeled in retail politics, i.e., he will knock on a door 3 times.
You're right.
In a community, in a neighborhood. Now, as districts get larger, it's more difficult to hit as many doors 3 times. And so what are the other ways that you can get into people's homes? One of the other ways is through robocalls. Another way is through mailers, getting mailers into people's homes. Now, here's what I know, Brother Love. I haven't seen anybody knocking on doors. All right, so no one has any real advantage in terms of going door to door that I see knocking on doors. I haven't heard or seen a lot of folks robocalling, but I do know one candidate that is robocalling. I do know one that has been robocalling for the past month and a half, or not them per se, but folks that are in their camp that have been robocalling for them for the past month and a half. I know this personally. My wife knows because she got a call from one.
Okay.
I do know that there has been one candidate who, through mailers, has been in my house 9 times.
So they've been reaching out. They've been tapping.
And if they've been in my house 9 times, they've been in multiple homes.
You left one thing out.
9 times. What's that?
TV ads.
I haven't seen any.
And it seems like I've seen a ton, but from one individual.
And I can only guess what it is. Social media, and not self-made social media posts, but social media in terms of other organizations posting things for a candidate. I've seen that, and so in terms of who's been getting the most touches that I've seen, in my mind, and I'm not saying that this is the person who will win, but in my mind, that is the person that has the clear advantage because they're touching more people more times than anybody else.
Makes sense.
And listen, I'm not gonna say who it is. No, I will say who it is because if they win, then it'll be like, So LaVon Bracy Davis, her campaign has been touching people multiple ways for a number of months. And like I said, I've gotten 9 mailers in my home from LaVon Bracy Davis.
So that's a lot of touches.
That is a lot of touches. I can only imagine. And so compare that to one mailer from Alan Grayson. Compare that to one mailer from Miss Coretta Anthony Smith. Compare that to, I want to say I've seen one mailer for Randolph Bracy. I haven't seen any for Mr. Montague. So I mean, when you look at it, it's weighing heavy.
Oh yeah, but you know what? I think you sum it up when you say the number of touches.
Yeah,
it makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, that's what I go by. I mean, we can look at yard signs and different things like that, but I am thoroughly convinced of one thing, Brother Love: signs don't vote.
Signs don't. You're right.
Signs don't vote.
Right.
And people a lot of times as they're driving down the street, unless it's on election day and they see like a bunch of them lined up next to each other, people do not pay attention to those signs.
Well, man, before we jump off of that, You mentioned Mayor Brian Nelson and how he understands retail politics
Yeah.
and knocking on doors.
Yeah.
Another one of our good friends did retail politics too,
Oh.
and he's no longer with us.
I
But
know you're talking about.
that was Commissioner Fred Brump.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Matter of fact, one of my campaigns, I called him and talked to him about it. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And he linked me into somebody who helped me to get into people's homes and to make multiple touches through mailers and different things like that. I came in second in that particular race in a 6-7 person race behind someone who was more experienced in different things like that. And the only reason why I think I did not succeed is that person got more touches than me in other areas. But in the areas where my team was getting the touches, I clearly won those areas. So I mean, like I said,
It's all about the touches.
Fred Brummer, he told me.
He told
told
you,
me, yeah.
and he had a way of telling you that you didn't misunderstand a word he was saying.
Yes, sir, it did.
Hey, Brother Jackson, I'm glad that we're winding the way we're winding right now, because this gives you some time, because I really want to the Israel-Iran conflict.
You know, man, we might have to get Doc Light on this thing too, because this is some military talk. This is some stuff that's taking place, and for those who may not have been watching the news, the national news, the international news, over the past couple of weeks, Israel and Iran have been in a real conflict with each other. They have been shooting missiles at each other, hitting each other's key points in each other's territory. And so the U.S. is a friend of Israel and is not a friend of Iran. And Iran has stated very clearly, death to Israel, death to America. And so it was only for so long that America or the U.S. could or would sit back and watch Israel being bombarded, although Israel is winning, but to watch Israel be bombarded by a country that has nuclear ambitions and has kicked out the arbiter who was to oversee their nuclear program to ensure that they were not enriching uranium for any other purposes other than energy. And it has come to our understanding of U.S.'s understanding that Iran has been enriching uranium for the purposes of making a bomb. So just Friday, Saturday, I forget when it was, the U.S. Sent over what they call MOAB, MOAB, bunker buster.
Mother of all bombs.
Doc know what I'm talking about. MOAB. So, but
No.
yeah, Doc. Hey, but Doc, I mean, what are you seeing on this thing?
But
man?
before y'all go there, what carries the most?
Well,
The
well,
MOAB,
here's what a
the
Moab
B2, yeah.
a Moab is designed for. It's what's called an air burst munition. And what it does is it drops, and at a certain altitude, it blows up and it sprays this wide cloud, basically, and then it explodes a trigger, a detonation trigger that then makes that flame, and that has a concussion that will break bones. It will flip equipment. It will bust bunkers. Okay.
Now, Doc, you in the old days, bro. You talking about the ones we used to shoot. This MOAB, this is the one that they drop and it burrows 200
Oh
feet.
yeah. That's the bunker buster now.
Yeah.
That's a 30,000 pound munition.
Yeah.
So it drills, and it's made for subterranean structures.
Hey,
So
and the only plane that thing can be transported.
So now we can't say that now. The most efficient plane.
Most efficient.
The
Okay.
most efficient. The B-52 can carry.
The B-52, but the B-2 can avoid radar.
That's right. Yeah, and it flies up to 50,000 feet to avoid radar and different things like that. Now the B-52 can carry, but the B-52, that's an air tank, isn't it, Doc?
yeah,
That's a
B-52 can. That's a city killer.
yeah.
Hey, and this and the B-2 is a 2 crew.
That's it.
All you need is 2 crewmen in there.
That's it. And they say that thing can stay in the air for as long as you need it to.
Yeah, 24
They have
hours.
like air tankers and things. Yeah.
fuel on his own without refueling 24 hours.
Yeah.
But here's the thing that I love about our military. Our military is, you can take a soldier, one soldier can equal from anywhere from 14 to 20 of the other country's soldiers, because the technology is so advanced. And you got to think, somebody can be standing on a rooftop 2 miles away with a laser rangefinder and paint that bomb, that spot, and that bomb will slide down just like a slide.
Yep.
A playground slide, and it hit dead on target. I mean, think about it. You're going from 8 miles away, and you hit something, Rod, where it's the size of a quarter. That's how accurate it is.
I mean, everybody's becoming educated on all. We'll never know the technology, but when you see the talking heads and they're talking about the guidance system of this missile, and the fact that it's 30,000
pounds. Yeah.
pounds.
30,000 pounds.
And as you mentioned, Greg, it will burrow down 200 feet. And they were saying if it's deeper than that, you have to hit it multiple times. And the fact that the one coming after that one can actually hit from a precision standpoint and go right where the first one went.
Within
Right.
meters.
Right.
Within a meter. Yeah. I mean, these
Listen,
things are bad.
they can shoot them bombs down air shafts. That's how that's how good that is. I mean, literally. So just think about this. One comes in and goes down and explodes and open up that huge crater. And here comes the other one behind it with just as much force that's now able to go in there.
Hey, real quick, we didn't talk about, and this is the stuff that I'm looking at that is impressing me. Do you know how much the B-2 costs?
Yeah, of course I do.
Go ahead and let everybody know that
$2 billion.
$2 billion.
For each plane, we have 21.
See, why am I asking him?
Yeah.
Hey, and then you know how much those the bunker buster costs?
The bunker buster, Doc, what's that? at?
20 million.
It's
Okay,
in the
yeah,
millions. Yeah.
But here's a real question though, because a lot of folks have said that by doing this, the U.S. is agitating and is inviting war. And there's another line of thought that says that if we don't do this, then we're inviting war. And so, what's the line of thought on the actions that were taken with regards to going after Iran's nuclear program?
Listen, I'm going to tell you my thoughts. We have watched president after president over the last 20 years flip-flop and flop on the deck like a fish about this very issue, and hoping and wishing that the day doesn't come. Why wait for it? Now, y'all know that ain't my boy. But on this, I got to ride with him. He did the right thing. Instead of all that talking.
You see action.
Now, because I think he actually is going to foster in regime change. I think that's going to be a trigger from this.
Greg, my eyes is bad.
Because younger people in that country are going to realize, hey, we got all these old coots over here that's causing all of this. We're not causing this. Let's get rid of the old coots and we can live without the threat. They don't need nuclear weapons.
No.
Nobody.
What my friend Burns thinks?
There's no reason other than the destruction of Israel why they need those weapons.
Well, death to Israel, the destruction of Israel and death to America, because that's what they've said. They've been very clear and consistent on that.
But the problem with this is, number one, it's really a religious thing, and those two countries have literally been at each other's throats for thousands of years, and that kind of culture is hard to stamp out. This is why we were not successful in Afghanistan. In those areas, because those cultures, it's not culture like we have. They are very tribal, okay? They are very isolated from one another, and they're not united. They live in a constant state of confusion and chaos.
But Doc, on that note, and Greg, Doc, either one of you, Iran has retaliated against the United States, and is there any updates on the bomb? I think they made
it
that
was,
attempt.
it was, from my understanding, it was a very weak retaliation, a very weak response to what was done. They sent 6 missiles over to a U.S. base in Qatar or Qatar,
Okay.
whichever one that you want to say. It's my understanding that they were going to send some missiles over to the U.S. base in Iran. But, you know, that is nothing compared to what was done and what will be done
Yeah.
in response to that now.
Well, it's like they tell you about a gun. Don't pull it out unless you're gonna
Yes,
what?
you can use it.
Yeah.
You're right.
Exactly. And we need to stop threatening these folks. It's just some countries in the world, they don't believe that fat meat is greasy. And I'm saying that in a polite way.
Well, Doc, we have it documented that you say you don't often agree with the big fella in Washington, but this time you agree 100%. We got you on video.
I almost said something.
Hey, we got less than a minute and a half. Hey, Doc, real quick, your 4th of July plans.
My 4th of July, what?
Your 4th of July plans. You got any?
Yeah, I'm going to hang out with my aunt, my mom's baby sister, spend some time with them and stuff. And I'm planning my next
you'll be on the grill.
travel trip.
You'll be on the grill. Hey, General, what's your 4th of July plan?
I'll be on the grill. I'm going to be on the grill. I'm going to try my hand at some ribs this year, though.
Okay. Well, tell you what, though. Hey, I appreciate, man, we covered a
What
lot.
you doing? What you doing?
I'm trying not to be on the grill this year. I'm going to try not to be on the grill. Hey, you know what? This is going to be a 4th of July seafood fest.
I'm going to try to get y'all up here before the summer out so we can have a little seafood shindig. But y'all know seafood is expensive.
Hey, no more expensive than the oxtail. Hey,
I can only invite people I really like. So
all right. Hey, to those of you who tuned in to Let's Talk Nation, hey, we want to thank you for tuning in to being loyal, and we appreciate you. And at the end of the day, y'all know what I tell the general.
Wait, we got to say thanks to Brother Burns because he was throwing us a message. We not ignoring you, Brother Burns. We saw you, man. We saw you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But
call me as soon as you hang up.
Hey, you better beat my mama to the call.
Hey, tell you what.
Hey, Mother Jackson, you can wait about 30 minutes, okay?
All right, General. You know what?
Yeah.
You don't have to go home, brother.
But you got to get out of here.
We'll see y'all next week on Let's Talk Nation.